promotional consideration paid for by the following.
This is awesome! This is awesome!
Hello and welcome once again to another retro review for Cheap Shot Entertainment. You are the Cheap Shot Nation, and as ever I am the one that will take you through everything that happened at Armageddon 2000. It took place on the 10th of December in the year 2000 and it's from the Jefferson Civic Center in Birmingham, Alabama, with a banjo on its knee. Again, this pay-per-view, if I was going to sum it up in a nutshell, it probably should be put in a nutshell and then just chucked off a cliff. It wasn't great. I was looking forward to seeing this one. I remember watching this back in the day on Channel 4. Channel 4 had the rights to WWE pay-per-views. I watched it on Channel 4. Can't believe it. And the last match, great. The rest of the matches, just very tiny steps up to that great finish, unfortunately. So yeah, we're going into the year 2001, the Space Odyssey, the year that it was set, and yeah, this will be the final pay-per-view of the year. I've always found it odd that they did a pay-per-view in Britain on the 2nd of December of this year and then flew directly back to the United States to do Raw and SmackDown and then another pay-per-view. Why not space it out a little bit? You might have got more out of your superstars. Anyway, if you like the video, you know what to do, and let's get going, shall we? So the first match, as ever, is a tag team match, but it's a 6-person intergender tag team match. It is Lita and the Hardy Boys versus the Radicals. That is Eddie Guerrero, Perry Saturn, and Dean Malenko. Of course, the storyline at the time was that Dean Malenko won the right to take Lita out on a date. He got beaten up for his troubles. And yeah, this is what's led to this. A very short-lived storyline. There was a lot of dating storylines around the Radicals and the ladies of the WWE at the time. So this is an elimination tag team match, and Guerrero goes out first with the hands of Jeff Hardy. Jeff goes out next via a Death Valley driver from a Hardy Boys special, from Jeff jumping off the back of his brother, and Perry Saturn catches him, hits the Death Valley driver. Jeff is gone, and Saturn goes next with a twist of fate, and in a cruel twist of fate for Matt Hardy, Malenko then gets the roll up on Matt Hardy. This leaves, of course, Malenko and Lita in the ring, if you're keeping up with the scores. And Malenko puts Lita in a cloverleaf. Lita taps out. She didn't really stand much chance, but I like Lita. She's definitely getting a lot better, and she's getting more ground as we go with being in the men's matches. Now, if they put Chyna and Lita in the women's division, you might get a decent women's division in the year 2000. Of course, you always had Molly Holly, you had Trish, who was training and getting better all the time, and you had Ivory. Those sort of 5 ladies could have laid the groundwork for something absolutely beautiful, and something that could have gone on a calendar, but something that could have been equally as beautiful in the ring, and they didn't do it, and that's the year 2000 for you. But Dean Malenko wins this one for his team. The Hardy Boys come down, make the save, and we get the finish. Bit of a throwaway match this, unfortunately, to start the show. And I'm going to give it 1.5 cheap shots out of 5. So next we get to see why Rikishi doesn't talk a lot when it comes to the microphone, and he cuts a promo on the idea of going into the Hell in a Cell. What he did to Stone Cold Steve Austin is the inclusion with Triple H. Is Triple H going to turn his back on him and says whatever happens, happens, because he's a bad man, and that is just about that. We go on to a straight out one-on-one match next. It is Chyna versus Val Venus, the former male adult movie star who is now inexplicably on the side of right to censor. This all comes about because China had her issue of Playboy, and the right to censor wanted to censor it. I mean, it was perfect. It was good story writing in this sense. I really did like this one, and the finish was really good on this one because China obviously can go. I mean, she can go with the guys, and she looked good doing it. She was very convincing in that sense. Obviously, Val Venus was down there with Ivory, and that would lead to a feud with Ivory and China later on down the line. But the finish of this match was absolutely beautiful. Some may say it was absolutely perfect because Val Venus hit a fisherman's suplex pin on China for a clean win after distraction by Ivory. Well, again, lots of distraction in this one. Really unnecessary in this case, but obviously it would lead to a feud for the Women's Championship. Of course, China falling down the ranks now, having won the Intercontinental Championship twice and competed in a Royal Rumble. Yeah, slightly better match than the previous couple of entries, but still required interference from Ivory, and I don't think it should have. I'm going to give this 2 cheap shots out of 5, and I can't be any more generous than that. So we'll get next a very long interview with the man who was in the very first Hell in a Cell alongside Shawn Michaels. Takes up a lot of time, this one. He's talking about what he did to Mick Foley, what he did to Shawn Michaels, and what he will do to the other 5 participants in that Armageddon Hell in a Cell match. Get Vince coming down to the ring next, declaring that he's going to stop proceedings. This match is not going to happen. He's a humanitarian and a certified billionaire. I'm not sure they necessarily go hand in hand, but you know, he can cut a good promo at this point in time. He's the boss that everyone wants to kick in the face, and everyone wants to do it, and I still want to do that now. But yeah, he's brilliant. Next match is a last man standing match between Kane and Chris Jericho, otherwise known as Y2J. These two have been having some sort of feud going off for the last couple of months about hot coffee, and obviously, you know, the controversy of hot coffee happened in WWE way before it happened in video games for Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. You heard it here first. Anyway, like I say, last man standing match. Bit of a rubber match this. Kane has had the upper hand over Chris Jericho, being the much larger, stronger guy, but this levels the playing field a little bit, you know. Chris Jericho can use weapons in this match and take the big man down, and so he would do. Both competitors eventually battling to the outside of the ring and up the ring entrance. The brilliant set on this show, I haven't mentioned that yet. You've got the beaten up cars, you've got the barrels, everything looks like it's in Armageddon. I mean, like year 2000 Armageddon. You've got toxic waste barrels, you've got, like I say, the cars and the fire and all that kind of stuff. It's great. And all this would come into play with Chris Jericho and Kane, where Chris Jericho would get the victory over Kane by pushing over one of the stacks of barrels onto him. They were all welded together, so they were in a big, you know, pile. And Kane would not be able to answer the 10 count, although a hand did come out, a bit like Jason Voorhees. A hand did come out trying to grab Chris Jericho from underneath, trying to make him fall over so he wouldn't be able to answer the 10 count. What happens if both guys can't answer? I guess it's a draw. Chris Jericho would pick up the victory over Kane, and I think this one is done and dusted. Both would go on to other things in the year 2001. This is a great match to finish the feud. I've noted that the other 2 matches, or the 2-3 matches that they've had in previous pay-per-views, have not been great. For the stature of these 2 superstars to not put on very good matches is shocking to me. I guess sometimes you have to have the chemistry with the people that you're going against in order to produce a good match, but you know, theory says that both of these guys could produced those matches. They did in this one. Something clicked and it was good. Great match to end the feud, and a believable finish where Kane, it can only be finished by chucking barrels on top of him. Absolutely brutal match. I'm going to give this one 3 cheap shots out of 5. Really enjoyed this one, and very fitting of the Armageddon title. Tag Team Championships up for grabs next. It is a fatal 4-way, 4 corners tag team match. It's not elimination, so it is 1-4 to a finish. Whoever gets the first 4, either via submission or via pin, will take the WWE Tag Team Championships home with them, or sorry, WWF Tag Team Champions. It is right to censor. They have been the champions for a couple of months now, alongside Stephen Richards, who would be barking orders from ringside. That is Bull Buchanan and the Good Father, going against Edge and Christian, K-Quick and Road Dogg, and the Dudleys, of course, gaining some momentum back from having their really good feud with the Hardys and Edge and Christian. Edge and Christian have been there or thereabouts. They've had a couple of things in between that have made me absolutely crease in the year 2000. I'm so glad I chose this year to actually go through the year and release the reviews on the days that the pay-per-views were. So I want to continue that going into 2001, and with wrestling not really happening very much in the live sense with what we can actually do and what we can go to, this is the perfect way of doing it. So the match finishes, the match breaks down really quickly. We start off with tags and teams on the outside, only 2 people in the ring at any one time, open to abuse if you ask me. The match breaks down really quickly here, and most of the people are outside after hitting lots of different tag team finishes and finishing moves. Christian finally jumps in the ring, hits the unprettier on Bubba Ray after the Dudley boys had taken out most of the field with 3Ds. When the referee's back is turned, he is not the legal man. Edge is the legal man. Unprettier hit, Edge gets the pin. They are 4-time WWF Tag Team Champions, and that's all happened in the space of a year, which is crazy. So yeah, new champions, Edge and Christian. I can dig this. You've got Edge and Christian as tag team champions. You've got Kurt Angle as the main champion, and it's all good. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. So another quick match, but it was a lot of fun, this one. It was well worked, and I'm going to give it 3 cheap shots out of 5. Very much worth waiting for, even though the other matches have been a bit weird and not great. So yeah, got some degree of credibility back. Intercontinental Championship match next. It is the champion, the one, Billy Gunn, versus Chris Benoit. And Chris Benoit's had a very full year in the year 2000. He's come in with the Radicals. He's been in multiple Tag Team Championship matches, not Tag Team Championship, WWF Championship matches, and failed, although he has picked up and had his hands on the title a couple of times with the help of Shane McMahon against The Rock, which, you know, has been really, really good. And now he comes to the end of the year. The Radicals have split, they've got back together, and we're looking at gaining some momentum back for the Radicals. He would do that here, taking out Billy Gunn's knee, and as I said earlier, if you've got a guy that's much taller than you, you take them out via the legs, and that is exactly what Benoit does here, and he does it absolutely expertly. He is the Rabid Wolverine for a good reason, and Benoit captures the Intercontinental Championship, having injured the knee of Billy Gunn, locking in the crippler crossface, which is very strange because he was, you know, going for the knee and not the shoulder, although I think he probably worked the shoulder as well, because that usually seems to be the way that he puts it in. And locking in the crippler, and Billy Gunn just can't break out, he can't break free. So new champion, Billy Gunn taps out. short-lived championship reign. But we get a new champion. Chris Benoit takes home the championship. Another quick match, but showed how good Benoit is at telling a good story. Ring psychology-wise, he is fantastic. I'm going to give this one 2 cheap shots out of 5. Again, another very quick match, but I get the feeling that's because the main event match is absolutely epic. But yeah, it's a shame that it's filler going into the main event. I'll say 2 cheap shots out of 5. WWF Women's Championship on the line next. We get to see Ivory again. She is defending against Molly Holly, who is a very accomplished wrestler, and Trish, who is at this point a valet, who is gaining, she's gaining skills as we go along, and she's actually working hard to become better at what she does. Which is great. I love to see that. You can see the development in her as we go along. She likes pumping them up, biceps, that is. Anyway, yeah, this is a blink and you'll miss it moment, because the Women's Championship is over in the blink of an eye. Molly hits a powerbomb on Trish as Ivory is languishing on the outside. Ivory jumps in, throws Molly Holly outside and pins Trish to retain the championship. Did note, I was writing down at this point in time, a good showcase for the women's division, and then the pin happened and I'm like, okay, it could have been a good showcase for the women's division and what the women could do in the year 2000 if they gave them time, and they didn't. I'm going to be more than generous here and give it half cheap shot out of 5, because this one, literally blinking you miss it. It's a really sorry state of affairs in the year 2004. The ladies on the roster, really did feel for them. Really did. On to the main event now. It is the 6-man Armageddon Hell in a Cell as it was billed on the games. Yes, you could do this in the games. 6 people in a ring with a Hell in a Cell surrounding it. It is for the WWF Championship, and of course Kurt Angle, woo, the Olympic gold medalist, is your current WWF Champion. He is defending against Triple H, Rikishi, Stone Cold, The Rock, and the American Badass, The Undertaker. And this one was all over the place. I mean, they were beating each other on the outside, they were beating each other on the inside. Vince McMahon comes down in a truck inexplicably filled with sawdust. Wonder where that's going to go. Pulls the door off the cell, and this allows the inmates to escape, so to speak. And Triple H is one of the first ones out. It's followed by Stone Cold. Some people climb to the top. Stone Cold's up there, Triple H is up there, Rikishi is up there. They must have had to reinforce the cage for that, and Undertaker is up there as well, representing one of the spots that does keep getting replayed in Hell in a Cell matches, and it will be replayed for years to come, and that is Undertaker choke slamming Rikishi into the flatbed truck full of sawdust. Obviously Rikishi would be out at that point. Undertaker is languishing on the top of the Hell in a Cell, and that just leaves the 4 guys in the middle of the ring. Kurt Angle is bleeding, The Rock is bleeding, Triple H is bleeding, and Stone Cold has been beaten black and blue. But what happens next is Stone Cold Steve Austin gets the stunner on The Rock. Kurt Angle is pretty much out at this point. Triple H gets the pedigree on Stone Cold Steve Austin, takes him out. Kurt Angle then hits Triple H, stops the count, manages to get his hand just over the chest of The Rock, and picks up the victory, retaining the WWF Championship in only the way that Kurt Angle can retain the championship. And that would go on to into the year 2001, and I'm going to give this 4 cheap shots out of 5. Really good match, solid storytelling here, and it's something that's been building for over a year, and I love long-term storytelling. I really do. And this was that personified. Don't know where, well, I do know where Rikishi came in, but there's one of these things, it's not like the others kind of moment. But yeah, he fit in. He was there to take all the beatings and put a little ass on it, like I've mentioned before. But apart from that, the other 5 guys were great. Rikishi played his role perfectly. He was a good performer. No good on the mic, and he probably shouldn't have been in the main event picture, but it kind of worked. And like I've said here, I usually find multi-man matches really difficult to follow. This was not. It was planned perfectly, and yeah, treacherous champion keeps the title by hook or by crook, and you know, couldn't save the lackluster end to the calendar, but it was a good final match for the year 2000. The whole year has been up and down like the biggest roller coaster that you can possibly think of. It had definitive highs, the Royal Rumble, the No Way Out, Hell in a Cell. So we've had 2 Hell in a Cells in a year, and WrestleMania, and then from there it was just sort of, and I don't know where it was going. I really don't. King of the Ring was good. Obviously Kurt won that. He then won the European and Intercontinental Championships. He then won the WWF Championship, and he had one of the best rookie years that we've ever seen from a professional wrestler in WWE, in professional wrestling, just in general. But this one was probably on the latter of the scale with the lows, because it just wasn't a great pay-per-view to watch. Like I say, the main event was great. Love the concept, love the thought of it, and the storytelling was great. But we move into the year 2001. The landscape will change dramatically in the year 2001, with WWE purchasing WCW and ECW purchasing its rivals. We then get the invasion angle and things like that, which could have been done a lot better, but I did quite like the invasion. I really quite like the invasion. Brings more variety for the year 2001, and it would be the first Mania to go back into a big stadium that's almost outside, so we'd see a shift in what's being delivered in terms of WrestleMania as well, which was great. And it would be interesting. It'd be an interesting landscape. It'd be an interesting time for wrestling in general. Anyway, that is the end of the year 2000 right here with Cheap Shot Entertainment and Retro Reviews. So I'm going to wish you a Merry Christmas. Try and stay safe. If you're not with your families, make sure you talk to them. Make sure you look after each other, wear your face mask, and do everything that your government is telling you to do, or asking you to do. They're not telling you to do it, they're asking you to do it for the safety of yourself and everybody else. I myself am a volunteer. I'll probably be volunteering over Christmas, delivering food to families who desperately need it, and I wear a face mask. And I ask anybody who is out and about to wear a face mask in shops and things as well. Because if I get sick, all those families won't get food. And that is not the spirit of Christmas. The spirit of Christmas is giving, caring for your fellow person, your fellow human being. Let's all be good to each other. Let's all be excellent to one another, as one of the best films from this year has been released. Bill and Ted. One of the only films released this year, actually, come to think of it. Yeah, so Merry Christmas, Happy New Year from Cheap Shot Entertainment. You are the Cheap Shot You are the Cheap Shot Nation. I have been your host, Luke. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and stay safe from Cheap Shot Entertainment. And I'll see you in the year 2021 for more 2001 pay-per-views. 20 years on from the original date they were on live. I'm not going to say bye. Bye.